For April the 13th, 2016, we talk about the Battlefield 1 announcement, Overwatch, and we ask you about character customization. Welcome to level 150. My name is Kole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm David Mysmith.
And I'm Ben Merkel.
And you're listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. This is the 150th episode, the sesquicentennial, as we called it, as it is called. Yeah. Remember that word we learned back in episode 150 of the Don't Tree?
I don't, because it was so long ago.
It was a long, long time ago.
At least 150 weeks ago.
Sesquicentennial.
Sakura Centennial. I hope
All right, let's
that'd be
act
some
like
kind of
we've been
weird
there
anime.
before, guys.
Yeah.
By which I mean prepare absolutely nothing.
Oh yeah, nothing. No, it's like 150. I think we can mark it, but like 200, we can get that. Although in episode 50 was when you announced that Luke was a thing.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. That episode 50 is Alpaca Llama Furia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So have last time did we make the jokes about like what anniversary is this?
I think maybe we did. I think that's when we break out on any of the foil cover episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Timeless.
Yeah. Speaking of foil cover, I saw Civil War today.
I want to see that.
Yeah, it's good.
It sounded like not to be like stuck in weather, but it sounds like you really enjoyed the second Captain America.
Yes.
That's
According to my tweets, yes. In real life, I thought it was garbage.
No, fair enough.
no, I liked it. It was
to protect. Yeah.
It was fun. I liked it.
Am I the only one that felt like it was sort of a superhero movie that, like, for 98% of it had nothing to do with superheroes?
I think that's actually like lauded as like a good thing about it.
Oh,
that
yeah.
it's like a board
I thought
movie.
It was cool.
Yeah,
but...
yeah. No, it was. I liked it, and I also liked how little time you spent with Bucky in it. Spent a lot of time with Bucky in Civil War. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, I hadn't seen a Marvel movie since we went to see the Avengers. So,
oh my goodness.
So
Wow.
2012, I think that was something like that. So
No love for Ant-Man?
I watched the first 30 minutes of Ant-Man because my stepdad wanted to show off the 3D television. And I got so sick when he shrunk in the bathtub that I had to leave. I had to stop.
So here's a fun fact. Ant-Man is technically Milo's first ever movie.
Oh, that was the first movie you went to?
Yeah, it was just they had like a pre-made selection of movies in the hotel room, hospital room, and that was like the night after he was born or something like that. We were bored, so we're like, we'll watch it.
Yeah, wholesome family fun. Michael Douglas, strange CGI face, young Michael Douglas,
and it's edited for content as well, so that created some hilarious moments.
Yeah, some language in a lot of these movies.
Well, you can tell where like the editors were able to like really artfully get around stuff. It's like, I know there was a swear in there, I just can't tell exactly where. And then there are also the points where they're just like, screw it, I'm not going to waste the time trying to fix that, and they just blank something. So it's like I don't know what sections they or I can tell exactly what sections they started on first versus the last ones, and they were just trying to get it out the door.
Yeah, so I need to go back. I need to watch. I haven't seen Iron Man 3, and I have not seen all of Ant-Man. I want to see all of those, and I think I'm good. I don't need to watch like Thor or whatever. Don't really care about Thor.
I like Thor. There's no legitimate content. Like, you don't need to watch Thor, but I kind of like it.
There we go. Yeah, so that was I don't know, that was fun. I got to go you're going to hear this story in a couple weeks on Abject Suffering, but I was like, okay, Tuesday morning, I'm not working today, so like the best time to go see a movie is 10 a.m. or earlier on a Tuesday morning, right? Nobody's there. You have the run of the theater to yourself. It's good. Go, and I show up and I'm in the parking lot, and there are 5 school buses.
Oh no.
Yeah. There's a guy who's walking out looking pissed off. He's wearing a Captain America shirt. I was like, they're not here for Civil. He's like, yes, they're here for Civil War. I'm coming back later. And I was like, well, I've got an hour to kill. I am not going to watch a movie with a bunch of middle schoolers. It's just not going to happen.
Was it sold out, or you just refused to go?
Oh, I just didn't want to do it. I
Yeah.
didn't want to be there. I didn't. Not with a bunch of little kids. No.
Court orders.
With one little kid could be good though, because remember I think we went and saw Wreck-It Ralph together, right?
Yes, we did.
And we were next to like a little kid who got all scared at the scary parts and got all excited at the exciting parts, and that was
me.
Well, somebody was getting real excited and cheering when somebody got punched,
yeah.
which
Yeah,
matches up with previous behavior we've seen from Ben. Huh.
Seems legit.
Phantom of the movie theater.
So yeah, is that the banter?
It's
think so.
a
Is it-
requisite
is it
banter. Yeah.
Yeah. Are we gonna refer to that in every single show? Does that become a requirement?
I think so. I can't think of a better way to get out of it because, like, I don't want to say, does anybody else have an anecdote, because that also feels forced.
Well, and that's the problem.
We need the meta banter.
Yeah.
I suppose. Well, does
that's-
anybody else have an anecdote?
Well, now that it's forced.
Yeah, I know.
What I was gonna
Really
say
put
is
us in a
it's
spot there, Cole.
I generally try to come with something to open us up with.
Mhm.
Yeah. Not saying everybody else has to, but that's that if it feels like I dominate this section, that's just, it's because I come in with ammo.
he carries the
Kiss
team.
his muscles.
Oh, so we've got the usual kind of show for you: the brief, the multiplayer, and the grind. And let us dispense with the formalities and get to the brief, the formalities. Dispense with the formalities, and then I say the word the same way I say it every time. Yeah. Anybody want to go first? Oh, this is the section where we talk about things that are happening in the world of video games around us. Does anybody want to volunteer to go first?
I'll go first
Go.
because I'm talking about Battlefield 1 and first.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I believe they announced this last week. Within this last week,
It
Not
was like
100%
right
sure.
after we recorded.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy about this. They're going back to World War One, and that's the setting for it. This game looks like it would pair very nicely with Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, talking about World War One. I watched a video. It was like maybe a 10-minute video where it was talking about an analysis of the trailer that they released.
Yeah.
And it kind of went into detail of like, okay, this German would probably be cleaning out the trenches. He has like a homemade club, and like that's a trench club, and you'd use that to attack someone in close quarters, and then this is a gun. I don't know. But yeah, it takes place in World War One. It's going to take place both in trench warfare in Europe and also I think some of the conquering part in like Belgium, but then also there's going to be horse riding in Africa and aerial battles in Africa.
Okay.
That's great.
I mean, the graphics look amazing on the trailer, at least. And the thing that I'm really excited about is it looks like very historically accurate and very historically informed. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a very luscious announcement trailer.
To the historical thing, were there hand pedal tanks in World War One? Because
Yes.
I think I just saw a hand pedal tank.
Yes, in the trailer, there's one of the Germans is cranking a tank, and apparently that is historically accurate. That was one of the first ways that they used the tank. But
Wow. I just
one
imagine
thing-
you have to like constantly circle an analog stick to move the tank around.
It's like you're rowing the boat in Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, but you have to partner with someone else. It's like the ultimate teamwork exercise.
Yeah.
Can you guys circle at the right speeds respectively to get this thing to go straight?
Well, no, you have to buy a swan boat peripheral,
Yes.
and I'm pretty sure tanks came on the scene like pretty late in the war, but yeah, apparently that's the thing.
Yeah.
So
They're called tanks because they disguise them as water tanks when they were moving them around.
Is that for real?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a fun fact for you.
Nice.
That is fun. But yeah. So I'm excited about this because I think last week we talked about the modern warfare going to space.
Yeah.
We did. This is super well timed, by which I mean I feel like a fool for that discussion last time. I forget which side I came down on. Like, I want the flintlocks. Not flintlock, geez. That's going way, way back. I want the single action stuff.
Flintlock
Yeah.
also could be interesting, but yeah, I feel like
In order to reload, you have to complete a game of Bop It.
well, that's like what was that like indie game where it was like with the 1911, but there's like a separate button for like magazine release. And,
Receiver.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I know, like, okay, this is obviously going to be like a dumb statement because, like, pretty much by definition, like, going to war and having people try to kill you sucks. But, like, I feel like one of the problems is, like, didn't World War One kind of suck to, like, be in? Like, wasn't it basically just, like, people getting kind of mowed down and, like, standing around and, like, contracting gangrene?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that they're gonna cherry pick the stories that they show in the video game.
Yeah, I don't think that there's, it's going to be like, okay, well, it's the Battle of the Somme. I wonder what's happening over top of this. Boom, you're just artillery shell. Like, there's some staggering numbers. Like, by the end of some of those battles, the soil was more artillery fragmentation than actual dirt.
Right. Yeah, if they do the Battle of Verdun like that, I don't know. Just hearing the hardcore history thing about that, it just sounds so chilling. But
yeah.
Inspiration for Mordor.
I don't think you guys are right. I think that the old manuscripts will show that the troops back then practiced circle strafing.
That's the only way to get around in a trench. You can't actually walk there, like broadsided.
Yeah. So, no, this should be really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a bold move, and I'd be curious how much they kind of go through with it, like the methodical pacing kind of thing of it, because this does have like real pacing concerns to it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Oh, just like changing, just the nature of cover in this, like the rate of fire, the just if they are using historical weapons or they are like simulating it. And I'm not like an expert on this or anything, but just like taking like 2-3 shots maybe, as opposed to like riding around in a helicopter with a full auto machine gun, taking people.
I feel like this could actually, particularly with Battlefield's formula, could maybe be in their interest. Because at least for me, like, the thing that turned me off of the previous couple games was, would basically be like, would take me, 15 minutes to actually get to where the fighting is. And then I'd get sniped by someone like a half mile away and have to do it again. So I feel like maybe having a setting where, like, because of technology, you can't be that great could actually make the game a lot better.
I think I want to play a game that doesn't focus like 100% on the battle, but like I think it would be interesting to have like a World War One or a World War II game where you also spend like the weeks before the battle, like preparing like artillery cannons or like preparing like makeshift bases or whatever, and then like I don't know. I think that could be just as cool.
And then it builds.
So like
good.
Almost like a 2-round, like first one's like a RTS type thing almost.
Yeah, almost.
There's a game that I intend to play, and you might be able to play it now, Ben, that you have a PS4 or your PC. It goes on sale. Valiant Hearts. It's an Ubisoft game that's done in the same kind of like graphical engine as Child of Light or Rayman. That is like an adventure game set in World War One.
Is that the one where you have the dog?
Maybe. I don't know enough about it to say if there is a dog or not. You play as a bunch of different people,
okay.
but that has like it's a little bit. It's half adventure game about World War One and half like museum. Like you go to pick up a gas mask and then it tells you a bunch of stuff about gas masks and things.
Oh, that's a good point. Freaking. We probably won't have as much grenade spam, but now we're going to have mustard gas spam.
Yeah. But that doesn't build to combat. So,
yeah, I like this idea of setting up the field though. Like, what it makes me think of is in like League of Legends games, there's like a pick and ban phase at the beginning, where you can like stop people from picking certain champions and then select your own, and there's a bunch of strategy that goes into that. So I like the idea of like, he placed an ammo depot on the west side of the field, so I think that means their strategy is going to be this, so I'll place a bunker on this hill. Mm-hmm. Like that could be really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. This feels adventurous. It is not the same big multiplayer shooter we've seen. Hope it pays off.
Yeah.
It's the first shooter of this kind that I've wanted to play for a very long time, or been interested in playing.
Likewise.
Yeah.
There's plenty of time left to overload hype and then just get cynical about it. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, for them to build in like kill streak perks or whatever.
Zombies. Has to have zombies.
Get a pigeon drop. Yeah.
I'm going to go into mine because it is related to war. So I had no idea that this was a thing, but apparently there is in development a This War of Mine board game that has a Kickstarter, and it actually just passed its goal.
Nice.
Yeah. So the video is not very forthcoming with kind of like gameplay details. There's no kind of walkthrough thing like Ben shared with us a couple of weeks ago for the Dark Souls game. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Like the idea of it, or the version of this game that I have in my head as like a co-op board game where, you know, somebody's like running a dungeon kind of thing against you and just terrible things happen and you're trying to use your resources in a kind of like turn by turn kind of thing. Like your characters in this game are already kind of like exposed to you through cards, and a lot of this does feel like a little bit, you know, card or tabletop-y. So to take this, you know, into that and make it into a like collaborative multiplayer experience feels really great. It feels like there's going to be there's a lot of you know, fertile ground there for them.
So can you remind me and perhaps the listeners what the video game This War of Mine is like?
So This War of Mine, it is a survival kind of game. It's a little bit like what would happen if The Sims took place in like war-torn Bosnia. Or war-torn like Eastern Europe, you know, during the siege of this big city. You play as a handful of people, and it's in this kind of like side view cutaway section of this abandoned house. And you have to kind of go out on missions, either to get food or to, you know, get resources. And when you're back home, you can fortify your area, either by building like crafting stuff, you know, making ammo, reinforcing the walls. And then there's this loop where, you know, you're taking care of your stuff. You can send people out on missions at night, and each of those has kind of these like little moral choices that you have to make depending on, you know, who's there, if you've run that scenario before. And then when you come back, you find out if anything happened back at home. So it's this very bleak, very kind of exhausting simulation of what it would be like to try and survive in this city that is kind of like under sectarian siege. But it is, you know, even stripped of that trapping, it is a really satisfying like survival and resource management game. I've talked about it before.
Yeah, I'm looking up screenshots of it now. It looks really good, but that's interesting. They're making it into a board game.
Yep. So until we know more, that'd be pretty cool. But just how many choices are in the game feels like it would translate well.
That does sound pretty cool.
Yeah. David, what you got?
Sure. So there's a virtual reality game called Job Simulator, which is apparently just allows you to virtual realities various like menial or whatever jobs, like, or, you know, just like work fast food or be in an office, you know, sorting papers or whatever. But one of the problems the developers apparently found is that I cannot envision quite how this works, but apparently because it's VR, people who are very short would have problems where like they couldn't reach things on like the tops of like shelves and stuff in the game. And so they the developers created quote short human mode or shorter human mode or something, which you know, effectively makes you like artificially larger. And the like one it's smaller human mode.
There we go.
And so one, it's just kind of you know, just kind of a cool thing, like just kind of funny. But it's also the article is really interesting because it just goes into like all this weird like nuances of doing this. So like apparently there's something that's important to the process that technically like your character doesn't get bigger, the world gets smaller. And like somehow that's very important to like making the illusion work. Similarly, apparently they found that like, you know, it's virtual reality, so they're rendering like your arms and stuff, and they had to make the hands bigger in this mode because apparently
Otherwise, they
like
look tiny.
yeah, because so I'm assuming it's sort of like yeah, like especially if you see like a little person, obviously they're not just a proportionately shrunk person. Like proportions don't scale all the same.
Yeah,
And I guess just your brain is like innately picks up on that.
Okay.
So like yeah, that was a problem. And also apparently if you with this, if you are not a particularly short person, you can just turn on the mode anyways, and it becomes like giant mode.
That's what I want. I want to be like Godzilla stomping through a city. Give me that VR experience.
Yeah,
Would you like your receipt?
It strikes me as a little bit weird that they can't just like I don't know, like detect how big you are and like I don't know, somehow scale it automatically or something.
A particularly important detail here is that this is for the HTC Vive, which is room scale.
Oh, is that specific to the?
Yes. So I think that like as you're moving around, its camera senses the position, especially in relative position to the floor. And so if you are a certain height in the real world, it will put the camera and your hands and stuff, what's visible, lower. So it's actually like tracking your absolute position. So they have to increase decrease the simulated world to kind of shrink it down for you. That's my understanding. That makes
sense because I was wondering, that didn't quite make sense with me.
Yeah. So like in the Oculus, like they can put your kind of like the height of your camera wherever they want to. Whereas with that, if they're tracking the motion, they also have to kind of be faithful to the relation between the camera and the floor. Is my understanding anyway.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, anything for accessibility. Like
yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm loving these GIFs. I also love good.
It's also just kind of cool is apparently the entire game is just like no UI. So and they talked about they didn't want to like put in an options menu for this. So I guess like right at the start of the game, there's just a little like phone booth or kiosk or something that just has like a switch on the wall that has like shorter human mode on.
Yeah.
Hop into the TARDIS or whatever.
Pretty good.
I'm glad they didn't put it high up.
Mocking you. Oh man. Also kind of alongside this, do yourself a favor and look up the only word I can think of for this is virtual reality fails. Just videos of people who are wearing virtual reality, specifically room scale, moving around and either like running or just not realizing that they that what they're seeing isn't real, like momentarily, and then really hurting themselves.
Oh, poor people.
Yeah.
I'll still laugh.
Well, of course. Oh gosh, and Ben, how about no, Ben, you already had that. Dennis, how about you?
I went one.
Yeah.
No, we're good. So mine is about what is potentially the end of an era. Wes Copeland is a Donkey Kong enthusiast and has just retaken the world high score for the game. He clocked in at 1,218,000. And notably had a game where he did not lose a single life. So this crushes the previous world record by almost 30,000 points.
Oh wow!
And apparently, just like there's some randomness in Donkey Kong in terms of like what barrels fall where, and you kind of there's a piece of it that you just have to luck into like a good game in addition to playing incredibly well. And he just did so well and got so lucky that everyone is kind of theorizing like, this is it. No one's ever going to match this again because he had so many things go right for him and so many and played so incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
That even the previous world record holder said he's not really even going to try to beat it. He says, I've got the skill up, but I'm not that lucky. So this score might, the way people are talking about it is expected to just kind of stand indefinitely. Apparently, if you finish with all your lives, I guess you can cash them in for extra points, and that's what really put him over the top, just into an unreachable place. So that anyone else who wants to even attempt this, if they die once at any point, it might as well just start.
Yeah, like no death just becomes part of the meta.
Yeah. So this is crazy. I mean, this is a number, and people will continue to strive to make the number bigger as long as there is a number. So I'm confident that this doesn't spell like the death of Donkey Kong as a something that people compete over, but this could stand for a long ass time.
Yeah.
I just love that response. Like, yeah, I totally have the decks, but unfortunately, luck was my benefit.
Yeah.
Should have known. Finds its worth after all. Yeah. So that's kudos to him. It took 3 hours and change, and I watched a couple portions of the stream. Because at some point you kind of start doing the same levels over and over, and to maintain the focus over 3 hours to do this well is just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, the whole video is online. Like the full. I was expecting this thing to just be highlights, but yeah, it's everything. Is there commentary on this?
It's silent, unfortunately. I feel like that would enhance it for the first 2 levels, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, remember that level he was at before? He's at it again, and he needs to do well.
Yeah, I still feel like this, and like the guy who beat Dark Souls or whatever without getting hit. Like, it just makes me feel like if aliens like ever come down and like challenge America or whatever to a thing in order to save the world, we need to it needs to be video games.
That's actually the plot of the new.
Also, we need Will Smith to just punch random aliens and deliver snappy lines.
Well, I mean, they killed Will Smith off before the sequel, so it has to be Jeff Goldblum. Has to be Jeff Goldblum. That's all you got.
Can anyone do a Jeff Goldblum impression of saying "Welcome to Earth"?
Well, welcome to Earth. I didn't get the voice, but I got the cadence.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
No, you see, you got it's welcome.
Welcome to Earth. Yeah. Wow.
Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith actually are one of those actors that just play themselves in every single movie.
See, I was thinking about that. Like, I don't know if that's a good thing. Like, I feel like maybe as an actor, it should be you can play any character, that sort of thing. But I feel like it's definitely an achievement to have that.
Yeah.
I feel like even more than that, the people that literally play themselves in every movie. So you go to you see a Jackie Chan movie, and as far as I'm concerned, the character's name is Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
No
himself
one
into
knows
this time.
what any of his characters are named.
Yeah. Although I did just see Jeff Goldblum in Mordecai, and he did everything but audibly say, "Can I have my check and leave now?" on screen.
You watched Mordecai.
It was so bad. It had its moments.
Let's just pretend that was in the hospital when you had Milo.
Yep.
No, there was what were we searching for? I think we were looking for
a better movie.
Yes, indeed. I think we were looking for some reason the Pink Panther came up, and we're like, oh, we should watch it. We couldn't find it, and that was our consolation prize. And oh well. Oh, but that led us to that. So after that, we found a movie called The Best Offer. Really freaking good. So The Best Offer, check that out.
Okay.
What's it about?
It showed up in the related to Mordecai section, and it was definitely not deserving of that insult. It's a very
The fuck you just say about me?
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, where we ask you a question and you answer it here on this 150th episode. Dennis, what is the question that you asked the nice people?
Yeah, the question is about character creation, and what is the most effort you've ever put into customizing a character, and were you happy with the result?
I like that. I like that final part.
Yes.
Pretty
I
good.
think it's an important qualifier to put on it.
Stephen starts us out with, after countless attempts at trying to make some approximation of my likeness in various Bethesda games and failing, I decided to always spend a good amount of time to make as monstrous of a creation as possible. And in Fallout 4 and Dark Souls 3, it's very satisfying.
Yes, as the image for our question shows, those are very abusable systems.
Yeah, that is straight up like Monster Factory stuff. So I've played enough of Fallout 4 to have done character creation at the very least. And what's hilarious is a lot of the features you can choose are very much like, oh, this is just a piece that they made for raiders, right? So like horrible facial scarification, crazy mohawks and stuff like that. But like in the intro to the game, you're like, it's like 50s idyllic. You're a you're a good soldier who happens to also be missing an eye.
Well, to be fair, I feel like having already been in combat, that's
true.
just...
I phrase that indelicately, but yeah, just like you can look like a total like Mad Max reject, as we see here,
for being not believable enough.
Don't they also have some ability to like make your character basically look like a ghoul, or am I?
I don't know. Maybe
I haven't noticed that.
Okay. Maybe
you can make them look really ugly, but they're not ghoulish.
Also, that's racist. What's the word they use for it in game? Prejudiced against ghouls. I resent that.
Ghoulist.
Yeah,
ghoulist.
Ghoulist.
That is actually my list of my favorite goos. So I'm not sure. Let's see here, Ben. What does Amanda say?
Amanda says, creating my Commander Joan Shepard in Mass Effect 2 when she imported wrong from Mass Effect 1.
God. Amanda swooped me.
Oof.
Yeah.
So, was Joan, is that Joanne? Joan, is that like, is there a canonical male and female name for Shepard? Like, I've never heard that before.
I mean, she's always referred to as Shepard in the game.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it defaults to like John and Joan, but you can name it whatever you want, I believe.
Okay. That's just interesting. I've never heard that before. That's cool.
Yeah. No, this exact same thing happened to me. I don't know if it's that she imported wrong, but like I spent a fair amount of time making my Mass Effect 1 character. I was like, oh, I want this character to look cool. Like what does my idea of like the kind of character I want to play look like? When I brought her in, it just like it vaguely resembled her, but like the new engine between 1 and 2 didn't do any favors. So just like it looked wrong. So I like went in, I used it as a starting point, and I had to spend a lot of time making her look like I thought she should look.
And if there's any game where you're getting attached to the character, my God, like Mass Effect is it.
Well, I feel like it seems like sometimes in stuff like that, it's they're especially on like the more you go back and in terms of like graphics being not as good, there can sometimes be a difference between like what the artist intended something to look like and what it looks like to you, so that then once they update it to actually look like what they intended it to look like, that can cause problems.
But I feel Amanda's pain. David, what does Ollie say?
Ollie says, when SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, came out in 2003 or so, my friends and I spent many, many hours making almost ridiculously close, at the time, character versions of ourselves, and then spent nearly as many hours smashing those creations in the face with chairs and throwing them off steel cages. The joys of youth.
Hey, whatever keeps you from doing that same thing in your own backyard.
That's right.
I know there's actually like a pretty thriving like amateur professional wrestling scene.
It's called having brothers.
It's like local circuit kind of stuff. Like we've heard that kind of in relation whenever we've talked about wrestling on like Abject Suffering. People will write in and say, yeah, like there's all these goofy stories, like not just people who are doing like wrestling or like MMA kind of stuff, but like people with gimmicks, like people who come in dressed as like supervillains and stuff.
Yeah, the lady who cuts my hair, like that's her hobby, and it's straight up like professional wrestling, like fixed fights, like all straight up professional wrestling.
Her character name is Barbarella.
I also love that
Barbarian?
I also love that because then it becomes it's amateur professional wrestling.
Pretty good. I'll pick up here. Or no, Dennis, what does Tanner say?
Yeah, Tanner says, I accidentally made Ellen Page my character for my first Dark Souls 2 run. She's in your subconscious, man.
What if that was Tanner's like monkey paw curse? No matter what, when she goes, when Tanner goes to make something, it's always Ellen Page.
It's like Tim Allen in the Santa Claus when he runs back downstairs. Into the mirror.
Goes to the Sunday bar at the Max and Irma's and sits back down and wants a sweet treat and looks down and it's ice cream Ellen Page.
At least he'd still get to play The Last of Us.
And Beyond Two Souls.
We were going for positive side.
Let's see here. Jeff writes and saying, I put a lot of time into my Dragon Age Inquisition character. A lot of time for me on character customization is something like 10 minutes or so. So usually Jeff is saying that they don't spend a lot of time. In all honesty, I've never put a lot of time into it. Maybe it's just because I started gaming as a big JRPG fan, and in a lot of ways, I still care more about the mechanical side of customization. The level has already gone through phases of being entirely about Dark Souls, but I really like the organic customization like Dark Souls has, where you can mix and match armor sets and weapons. The whole gameplay is different based on that. Most games just don't live up to that level of effort versus reward. Fashion Souls is a thing.
Yeah, well, I also like kind of there's a balance to be struck between everything having a freaking slider. From like chin position to ear nodules and whatever.
I've never figured out what chin depth is. I move that. I think that's a canary trap. I think that is just a joke that that people are playing on me.
Yeah, and then kind of having not enough. So I think somewhere in there where you can kind of swap stuff out a la carte and still have it look good is what I want.
Yeah, I feel like. I feel like I wish they would add, keep in the ultra, in-depth stuff, but also have some like controls that try to make it more intelligent, if that makes sense.
The Sims, like the Sims 4 actually is really good. Like it's drag and drop in a way where like, oh, I need this nose to change shape. Like you select it and you move it around. And you have like a scroll wheel and stuff like for different things. Like you basically mold it like clay and it works out really well.
Nice.
Yeah. Ben, what does David say?
David says, Black Desert Online has insanely detailed character creation options. The class I wanted to play was gender locked, so I made it my wife. It took about 2 hours, but my character looks so much like my wife, it's almost creepy.
Yeah, those models are very creepy.
Well, I threw my wife off a ledge. What? My wife died in combat.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, which conflict was it? Oh, the conflict of Dragon Scale Rock. I'm sorry. What?
Dude, the respawn timers on that are horrible. I'm so sorry.
Oh man, I'm doing some corpse runs. Ugh, corpse runs sounds like a terrible thing.
Or an awesome metal band.
And just terrible. Ugh, I was about to say what it sounded like, and I didn't even want to say that word out loud. David, what does Chris say?
Chris says, once I decided to make myself in NBA 2K14, right down to my actual features, including my height of 5'4". Somehow, I ended up getting drafted to a team to become their most ineffective player of all time. Especially when it came to shooting threes with some 7-foot beast right in front of me. And pretty soon, coach just started putting me in after a timeout about 20 seconds before the end of the quarter if we were up a lot.
Oh, he was like Rudy.
Pretty good. I don't know, like just in a basketball game, I usually like a height slider, like whatever. But the fact that it actually makes a difference.
Yeah, well, I mean, basketball probably more than almost any other sport.
Yeah.
Just your genetics plays such a huge role.
Yeah.
There's what was Dragon's Dogma actually I actually had gameplay effects.
Really?
I remember the weirdest was that your lantern you strapped it to your belt when you turned it on, and height would affect like how far into water you could go before it went out. But then there were also, I think, some things where like it would very subtly affect like stamina recharge and maybe like reach, and like so like you effectively being a bigger person you could swing farther, but you also use more energy to do it, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Huh. I thought you were going to say there were like dialogue options where suddenly people would start mocking you for being too short.
How's the weather up there?
See, I feel like how's the weather up there is probably a bad thing to do in a world where calling down lightning bolts is a distinct possibility.
I'm not saying they were smart. Oh gosh, Dennis, what does Sam say?
Sam says, several years back, I tried out Second Life for a couple weeks, and as a goof, made the character look as much like me as possible. How is that a goof? Oh, I see. So it was a world full of furries. That's a tough phrase. And other fantastical characters, and a balding white guy with a beer gut wearing jeans and a t-shirt. This makes me think of Hot Tub Time Machine. I'm just referencing so many bad movies today. Hot Tub Time Machine, where he does he's in virtual jail.
Wait, Hot Tub Time Machine 1 or 2?
1.
Okay, I'll go to bat for 1. I've never seen 2. I've heard bad things about 2, but I like 1.
The losing an arm joke just fell so flat for me.
I forget that joke. I may have been drunk when I saw it.
May have had to have been drunk.
That must have been everything. No, the bellhop in the present is missing an arm.
Oh shit!
So they keep on trying to figure out, how he loses it.
I thought that was funny because they kept on doing like close calls.
Well, and then he starts juggling chainsaws, and it's like, okay.
I don't know. I like that cast. I just Rob Corddry. Anything he can be in is a good thing.
It's better than Mordecai.
Damnation by the faintest of praise. Let's see here. Kilo Pascal writes, Demon Souls, trying to get something that looked mildly human. It was a metaphor for the Souls theme of unending failure. Yeah, you just have to let go. I usually just I pick like one of the starting kind of descent like ethnicities or whatever. Like, oh, are you from Katarina? Or are you from? And they're just like, oh, that one looks fine. Go for it. Otherwise,
yeah. At least in Dark Souls 4, some of those are really, really weird. Like, apparently there's the land of, like, the Snow White people.
Oh, yeah, Earthel. Yeah.
Like, does any of that... Do any of the countries ever actually, like, matter in the game in terms of, like, understanding stuff?
A little bit. Like
Okay.
different kingdoms and stuff. Like NPC, it's if you're a real nerd, you can start your assumptions. You can start relationships with NPCs knowing which kingdom they're from, and people from that place tend to stab you in the back. So
based on their looks, knowing what kingdom they're from.
No, like every character in the game is named like such and such of then the country, but to me it's basically all ends up being whoever of mumble.
Yeah, it's I mean, like, so if somebody's from Kareem, like, you remember Lautrec of Kareem, like, just Kareem is a bad place, but they
what kingdom is Patch?
No, I guess Patches is I don't know if he's from any place.
From Kingdom of Kicking Down Holes.
Yep, Kingdom of fuck you clerics. Oh, and then Ben, what does Michael say?
Michael says, since you never actually meet your main character, constructing mechs in armored core always felt like a whole game of character creation, which was great. When I outfitted my walking battle tank with a wing made of chainsaws, I finally felt content.
I need to play Armored Core.
Yeah.
I like to imagine that then his attacks was just him like whatever like the reverse of like belly flopping on people is.
Wing flops.
Yeah, just kind of like
Delicious snack,
falling
wing
backwards
flops.
on them.
Yeah, just like he's falling off the turnstile,
Yeah.
Turnbuckle. Turnbuckles and turnstiles are the same thing. Hello, wrestle friends. Let us go and watch the hits on the square.
Yes.
Hello, wrestle friends. Yeah. So I've already given mine. Like the Mass Effect one is the only time, and that was more like that was less being invested in. I need to make this perfect. It's just I needed to have some kind of continuity. Otherwise, this person I'd gotten invested in would not remind me of the it just wouldn't be the same. Who else has one?
The one I had in mind when I wrote this was the movies. It's like a Sims type, only I can actually make movies with it. And it had an incredibly in-depth character creation system, and I resolved to go around and do all 7 of my roommates at the time. And in general, it turned out really well, except David looked really old. No matter what I did, try to make him look younger. Like he always looked really, really old. And then another one of my roommates, Justin, looked Asian, and he was definitely not Asian. Asian in real life. And I was not able to make him look anything else but that in game. And it's like, I had like a picture of him up on the screen that I was referencing as I was doing it. I'm like, I'm as close to this picture as I can get, and somehow it looks Asian. So, but yeah, so that's, I think I spent, hours and hours doing that, and then never actually made a movie with the characters.
Oh yeah. I liked that game. Like the movies, I think got a bad rap a little bit. But yeah, it just it was a lot of fun. Like even doing like the machinima stuff. But the studio management side of it was like, hey, you're managing a studio. It's like what is a game dev story except for movies?
Yeah, it's kind of too bad it came out when it is, because now that genre is like, every third successful game on Steam, it seems.
I did not mess with the actual game at all. I just put in all the cheat codes to give me everything, and was determined I was going to do machinima stuff, and then just petered out of character creation. I think if you're friends with me on Facebook, and I know a lot of listeners to the show are, I've got an album on my Facebook page that actually has the screenshots in it, so you can see what I'm talking about.
I want to see old David.
Yeah. I'll see if I can dig that out, and we'll put it in the show notes.
Nice. Ben, how about you?
I got to, with Fallout 4, just for fun, after I beat the game, I started a new character who was a female brawler who would just punch things. And then I upped, I think, one of her luck stats, where I think the lower your intelligence, the more lucky you are to get like triple the experience. And I just went around and punched everything to death. So that was pretty fun. But I stacked like all of the scars that you could possibly stack on her face. So I imagine I got some frame rate hits just trying to render all the layers on her face.
For all the decals.
Yeah. And then the other one that I got is in Dragon Age Inquisition, I just randomly got a character that looked like Charles Bronson, so I named him that and made like the mustache and the bald head, and that was kind of fun to go through and do that.
Nice.
Yep.
David, how about you?
Sure. So, I don't know. Overall, I tend to like really dislike particularly the slider take on this, so I don't have a lot of those. Although I think initially I was going to say the cop-out answer of City of Heroes.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's like 90% of the game, sort of. But I after Jeff's comment with the armor sets, I feel like actually one of them I probably spent way too much time on was the clothing options in the Secret World. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for writing in with that. If you want to participate in more of these, go to facebook.com/thelevelpodcast. Dennis usually puts those up on Tuesday afternoons or sometimes early evening. And those are kind of first come, first serve. We got to all of them this time, but that's not always the case. And we appreciate everybody who writes in.
The grind.
Now it is time for The Grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the past week or so. I want to lead with a headline here. Sure. Ben, tell me. Yeah. Tell me what you've been up to.
Started playing Uncharted 4 today since it came out today. I finished the first chapter of it. I'm starting the second chapter right now.
As you're recording.
Yeah, that's why I haven't been talking too much, guys. Sorry. But I mean, it's a Naughty Dog game, so I mean, so far so good. It does seem more story focused, so I'm excited about that aspect of it. I was a little bit disappointed in Uncharted 3. I definitely think Uncharted 2 is the strongest of the series, so hopefully it's a return to form to that. Without spoiling anything, I'm guessing from both the trailers and from what I've seen so far is I think the story is focusing more on Drake's relationship with his older brother, which don't know if that even came up in any of the previous games at all. Dennis, you might be able to fact check me on that.
The older brother does not exist pre Thief's End.
Okay. Yeah. So it's interesting that that's like a completely new angle, I guess. But it definitely seems like there's more substance to this story than there was with 3. So it's not like a straight up shoot 'em up. But
which is crazy because 3 focuses on the relationship between Drake and Sully, which has been building like that is almost central to the first 2 games.
Yeah.
And so you'd think there would be so much there. And I'm about to be ranting about Uncharted 3, but it falls so flat. But anyway.
Yeah. So we'll see where it goes. As I said, I'm only a chapter in, so we'll see where it goes from there. I imagine I will have this beat within a week, I would guess.
Oh yeah.
So,
I would be surprised if you don't have more like comprehensive stuff to say.
It's like midichlorians, is what it is.
What?
What?
We're gonna pretend it doesn't exist.
No, like the relationship between Drake and Sully is amazing when it's just kind of referred to and you kind of see it in the movies, but you don't have all the background. And then in 3, they feel like they have to go and explain every little piece of it.
Yeah, it's like learning Wolverine's name. Doesn't add much of anything. Like, you may have thought people won't. No, like Logan's his last name. It's like James something or other. Like, you learn it in like the origins thing.
Are they about to reveal who the Joker actually is?
Ugh, I hope they don't.
No, I read that was the case. So
he's Jack Napier.
Oh, is that a thing?
No, I mean in the 1989 Batman movie, like his character's name is Jack Napier.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought
it's apparently the current comic book series is about to pull the mask off.
Yeah,
to be
Joker does not wear a
fair,
mask.
that's until he changes his mind in the next issue.
Yeah.
Fair.
So I mean, like tell me, like just in comparison. So is this like I mean, it's obviously a third person shooter. How's that side of it feel? Because I mean, I liked Uncharted 2 well enough, but everybody kind of felt like a bullet sponge. Like, tell me just kind of like the situations. Are they kind of lively? Like how is the shooting? How's the combat?
It's the same game as the previous games. Like you're climbing things, you're punching things, which was introduced in Uncharted 3. I think maybe the one thing they added here is you can swing from ropes, but I'm not 100% sure. You might have been able to do that in the previous games. I can't remember. So
Nope. No.
So
all right.
The only one of the series I've played with any degree of significance was the first one. In the later ones, did they keep the martial arts from the first one? Because I remember that being really good.
Define martial arts.
Like the unarmed combat?
Like punching?
Yes.
Like Indiana Jones style martial arts?
Well, no. Like I remember, like in the first one, like there were kind of semi like pre-scripted segments that were just really well animated.
Okay.
Oh, like QTE kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit like kind of like the way Assassin's Creed does like the counters and like the finishes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a constant throughout the games.
Yeah.
And one thing that 3 did well, I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth, is they incorporate the environment into that. So like if you're standing near a refrigerator, you'll like smash the guy's head in a refrigerator. Or if you're standing in a fish market while you fight, you'll hit someone with a fish and it's glorious. So Single bright spot in the game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fish smack.
I just ordered this game.
Ooh,
I know.
power play.
No, I've I've wanted it. Like an easy win is going to be good after coming off of New Vegas. Just in terms of like, I can probably finish this in a couple of days.
Yeah.
And I have the Prime discount that's going to expire here pretty soon, and also I have
You're
some,
letting it lapse?
what's that?
Or no? Oh, never mind. Just
No,
the discount.
like
Alright.
the whole you get 20% off if you order it within the
Gotcha.
new release period.
Yeah.
And also I had some gift card stuff laying around. So yeah, and then that's coming on Thursday.
All signs point to Uncharted.
Yeah, they do. So it's I'm trying to engineer a question that you can answer because I like want to find out.
I'll say this: the art style is still really impeccable. Like
Yeah.
the environment just looks amazing,
Yeah.
and it's I feel like Naughty Dog can make any sort of environment look amazing. Like even if it's something like a mundane Texas house, like they did in The Last of Us.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean that aspect's still there. And there's still doing the sneaky thing where you have to be helped up to a certain ledge in order to load the next part of the game. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it pays off because you get like a really beautiful looking game in it. So
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I've continued playing Rocket League. I started playing 1v1 on it, which has been interesting. So it's like you're just playing heads up against somebody else. And the cool thing about it is you have to be very, very defensive because like you cannot leave an opening for them to strike, because if there's at any point like you go beyond the ball and like leave your goal open, like it's done, there's no defense besides yourself. So it's very much like more of a chess match than a 2v2 or 3v3. So that's been fun to do. And then the last thing is I paid $1 to buy the game Mountain. Have you guys heard about this?
I mean, game.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
It's just a procedurally generated mountain simulator. It's just a mountain and a
Wait,
camera.
how do you simulate a mountain?
It's like a floating piece of rock that has like stuff growing on it, and like occasionally like debris will land on it.
Yeah, Cole, have you played this game?
No, I haven't. Like it was part of a brief. It was notable because it's made by the guy who developed something that appeared in the movie Her.
Oh, okay.
Did he make the video game that they have in that movie?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, but I don't have this.
Okay. I mean, I was kind of drunk and it was $1, so that's how that happened.
Yeah.
But I left it on like for a couple days to kind of see what happens, and it goes through seasons, and it goes through like I don't know. It's basically like a video screensaver. So it is $1 interesting. So
it's like a progressive like spot the difference kind of thing. Like you just leave it open for a while. I don't know this from experience. I have friends who've played it and it's just kind of like, oh, there's a bike on it now. I wonder when that happened. That's kind of cool, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So
See, I feel like this would be an awesome way to do like a stealth horror game.
Oh, just where stuff starts getting like subtly weird in a way that you don't really. It's kind of like the colors in desert golfing. Like you're golfing thousands and thousands of holes, and then didn't this guy used to be orange? No, it's green. When did that happen? Oh, spoilers
Anyway.
for desert golf, I guess.
that's all I've been playing though. So that's all I got.
David, how about you?
Sure. Mainly just been continuing on with Dark Souls 3.
Where are you at?
I'm basically I've cleared out the actual like the content of the undead settlement.
Okay.
Or is that what they call it?
Yeah, the place at the foot of the wall.
Yeah, and so I need to, I guess, either defeat like Angry Tree or Angry Knight to go farther.
Okay.
So so that's where I am. I know it's kind of weird. We talked last time about I was stuck on I'd been killed by whatever the the first boss, the ice guy, and basically then went back and defeated him on the first try. So
it's always satisfying, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know. So far, it sort of seems like I'm wondering. So far, it seems like both of the bosses I've tried, the tree guy and the that first guy, don't seem to be particularly well built to counter if you just like run straight at them and kind of circle strafe. Which kind of strikes me as a little weird, but
They seem to, or they seem to have counters, or they seem not to have counters.
they seem not to have particularly good counters.
That changes.
Right.
It's the ultimate con. They've spent 4 games now conditioning their players not to do that, and now they can leave open.
No,
I was actually going to speculate the other way around. Like I wondered if maybe some of it was just having played some Dark Souls before and like knowing that as a common strategy. If maybe just like these were the boss fights that were intended to kind of teach people that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like that's a huge thing in Bloodborne is bosses, especially, but even enemies that have attacks that are meant to do like 270 degrees and get around behind them, or
Right,
something like that. Like and you had to know like which side to get into, and it's just kind of like breaking people out of that pattern. Even Dark Souls 2 had that to an extent, but like. Yeah, so the tree, the corpse rotted tree, gets around that because its weak points kind of are mobile.
And that's actually getting a little frustrating because I'm getting to where like the first time I played it, bottom I like got to like 2 or 3 more hits to take him down.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just getting to the point where I'm not being able to hit the weak points.
Yeah.
Which is kind of frustrating.
Yeah, don't lock on.
I've generally not been, but it's one of those things like it's not like it's not like they're like super hard hit or something like that. It's just like I'm getting to a point where just I can't get the angle quite right, and I keep just like ricocheting off the trunk or something like that. Like I don't know, it's just a thing. So I'm sure I'm just gonna have to try a couple more times. But.
Don't worry about summoning help. Like do that if you're having trouble.
Okay, see that's something I've been trying to honestly figure out is like to what degree is like I don't want to just cheese things, but at the same time like I explicitly don't like the boss fight aspect of Dark Souls.
I mean, so like if you've tried it a couple times, you've given it a good effort. Like then don't let being afraid to do that stand in the way of you seeing the rest of the game.
Good point. So,
yeah.
Oh, actually, So if you go the kind of the alternate way, you end up at the Giant's Tower and meet up with a NPC, and there's just kind of this
it's explicitly one of the demons from the beginning of Dark Souls 1. Like
really?
Yeah. If you remember the stray demon in the asylum, like. It is one of those, like the big guy with the huge weapon. Yeah,
right, and it's funny because it's basically when I don't know if this is a spoiler, when you fight him, the NPC guy fights alongside you, so it's at least for me was like a trivially easy fight.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing is just kind of almost this like vignette, just kind of this standalone, or at least. As far as I've seen so far, just kind of standalone, like fun thing that happens.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's definitely a funny scene, and it's meant to set up that NPC is being really competent.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that is one thing that does kind of bother me. Is like, it seems clear that all the NPCs you meet like know what you're doing, and like you're clearly not the first guy to do this. So like. How come none of the bosses have like ever gotten wiped out? Like it seems like at least every so often you should just get there and be like, oh, okay, this is already taken care of.
But yeah.
So I don't know. It's still a lot of fun. Um,
Yeah.
I did want to ask I don't know if not lore question or whatever, but has anyone been able to figure out the Firekeeper what she says when you're leveling up?
Yes, it is a version of the prayer from Demon Souls.
Okay.
You can actually go and like look at a transcript of it in the Dark Souls 3 wiki.
Okay, yeah, because I tried like like turning up the volume and stuff like that. I still couldn't make it out. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. So good stuff. The I think that's all I really have for Dark Souls. The other thing I did and just real briefly was checked out the beta for Overwatch.
Okay.
And I don't know. Like I literally played like the tutorial and like one match like players versus bots. So like very little of it, but it seems really cool. I really like the it seems like they have a really neat like variety of characters, some really neat powers. And I really like that was it one of the characters, Soldier 76, is kind of my ideal, gun haver class whose, special ability is has gun, which I really like. And I don't know, it seems kind of intelligent to me. Like I could never get into oh Team Fortress 2 just because I couldn't play any of the classes. And so I like the fact that they like include a character that is straight up like Call of Duty guy.
Yeah.
Well, it's like every character is unique and has is effectively its own class, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So every character is its own class, and like they vary pretty dramatically. Like what I think the weirdest I've seen is one of the characters is she has a like mecha, and so you actually view the game from like inside the mecha, so see her operating the controls and so stuff like that. And if you take enough damage, you'll eject, and then you're on foot, running around with a pistol till you get your timer expires to call down another mech.
So you've got Call of Duty in there, you've got Titanfall in there. What
Yeah,
else
you
have
got
they written
that.
off?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Looks so
That's
complicated.
pretty much all I have from it is like pretty colors, shoot things, fun.
Yeah. I'll be curious if this has legs, because Here's the Storm apparently didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So far, all of like the things I've seen from like people playing the beta and like some of the let's player people I like and stuff like that. It seems like it's always like, yeah, so I started playing Overwatch and I haven't slept in 3 days.
Yeah.
I have
that's awesome.
coworkers who skipped work and have lost sleep playing that game so far.
Well, it was an open beta for a weekend. It's gone now, right?
Yeah, it's now gone. Although it seems like they do a open beta weekend like every other weekend. So
Sure.
I don't think literally, but like that's they're not being stingy particularly.
Yeah. Is that all, David?
Yep.
Cool. Dennis, how about you?
Haven't played shit. Well, at least haven't played shit new.
Okay.
Too busy watching Mordecai.
I was gonna say too
Using my time
busy
really-
dealing with shit, right?
But literally.
Yeah.
So I've played more League of Legends. I've played more Hearthstone. I will say my one major accomplishment in League of Legends is I have not yet had to leave a game because of baby.
Oh, nice.
So I've been very strategic about when I'm willing to start a game because they're like 40 minutes on average, and your team kind of needs every player.
Yeah.
So
That's an uninterrupted
I've-
block of time too.
yeah, exactly. Like you have to be focused. You can't wander away. So I've been very strategic about that, and it's paid off. I haven't had to screw anyone over to be able to take care of my kid yet. So that's good. Yeah. I don't know if I have anything. The new cards in Hearthstone that just released are a lot of fun. And I've been playing around with those, trying to find crazy combos and make stuff work that shouldn't.
Is that the
My
new
usual MO.
expansion or?
Yes, yeah. There was a big new expansion called Whispers of the Old Gods. 134 new cards. Well, it's interesting. So you open a bunch of packs when the expansion comes out, because I've been saving up in-game gold, no real money spent. And you get a certain number of legendary cards, which are super rare. But the meta will find like what the best legendaries are, and everyone will kind of craft those and have those. But right now it's just kind of like, well, I want to try to make what I opened work. So I've got this, like, I've got a couple just obscure random legendary cards that do super weird things. And just because everything is crazy in the Wild West right now, and no one knows what's good, I'm just trying to figure out how to make them work in a deck, which is a lot of fun.
Do they have any new mechanics that kind of support the whole Lovecraft thing, or?
Not explicitly. Like, there's nothing like like an Inspire or a Joust, for people who are familiar with Hearthstone. That's like a new mechanic. The art is a lot of fun. My favorite is a card called Darkshire Councilman, which it's this like angry looking guy standing in front of or standing behind a podium. He's got his fist in the air, but his shadow is on the wall, and the shadow has like tentacles and weird stuff coming out of it. So it has a very Shadow over Innsmouth feel to it.
Cool.
But it's all got kind of a wink and smile vibe to it as well, because that's the way Hearthstone does things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm playing games. I just haven't had room for a new one yet.
Understood. So I'll do mine. I haven't played anything new. Sorry, I know I said I wouldn't do this thing, but like last week, I was talking about playing Fallout New Vegas, and yesterday I finished Fallout New Vegas.
Nice.
So you've been playing things?
I've been playing things. There's just stuff that I really can't talk about too much more because it's going to burn other cast. Like, it's good. Like, I've never.
This is a hostile takeover of Watch Out for Fireball.
Yeah, it's good.
The ultimate swoop.
Like, we've known this, right? Like, we've known the New Vegas is good. I've never done the NCR quest line before. I'm surprised at how much they made me care about the gigantic bureaucracy. Like, it makes it's like they had a lot of content there and a lot of like cool, quirky characters and fun quests and stuff. Like, it's a really good game, and like anybody who is thinking about playing along or is curious about getting some context on it, like, go for it. Like, it's almost always on sale, and it's even worth it at full price.
Huh.
Yeah,
cool.
Love New Vegas. So I'm going to be starting up the DLCs, but there are only 4 of those, and I have a lot of time to do that. I'm like 3 weeks ahead on assignment play, which feels very good.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Do you all want to button it up?
For sure.
Let's do so.
All right.
The credit.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for listening to episode number 150 of The Level. And thank you, people who've been here since the beginning, people who've hopped on somewhere along the way, and for anybody who hopefully intends to continue. It's been great having you along.
For people who will hop on in the future.
Ooh, if you're listening to this as part of the backlog. Yeah. No, it's great. I'm very, very happy to be here, still doing this. It is a bright spot in the week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's the usual stuff. The ratings and reviews in iTunes, subscriptions in iTunes, believe it or not, are a huge help. That is one of the primary things that iTunes metrics are kind of pinned to. So if you want to subscribe there, that helps us out. And we also have the Patreon, patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. And as I mentioned before, the facebook.com/The Level Podcast. I'm running out of steam. Oh boy, I'm so tired. For anybody who is who's listening, this is hour number 5 of podcasting tonight for me. So I'm like, whoa! I just got dizzy and realized how
It's the wall.
Yeah, I didn't have time for dinner. I had time to gruffle I ate a bowl of cereal in between 2
Is
episodes.
gruffle actually a word?
I think I picked it up from Akewood. So
That's the one with the skeleton bird, right?
No, that's the one with the cats. Yeah. Anyway, but oh gosh, is there anything I'm forgetting?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I've been Cole Ross at Cole Ross on Twitter.
I've been Dennis Furia at dfuria on Twitter.
I've been Dave MySmith at MySmith777 on the Twitter.
And I've been Ben Merkel at Merkelby on Twitter. Or Merkelizer on Twitter.
There we go.
Excuse me.
Get it right.
You've only said it not 150 times.
149 times.
Yeah. Oh gosh. And until next time, well, stick around and hear a title. All right, I want to hear candidates.
I got two.
Two.
I got Pigeon Drop and I got Corpse Runs.
Those are both good. I also had was it Hello Wrestling Friends?
Okay.
I've got Barbarella, Ear Nodules, Better Than Mordecai, and Wing Flops.
Okay. We have no overlap.
What do you got, Cole?
I only have two. Sorry, I was writing these down. Dennis gave them to me in like one crazy ass.
Oh, sorry.
sentence.
Do you need me to repeat?
Stream of consciousness.
No, it's fine. So I have would you like your receipt? And luck was his dump stat.
What was Ben's first one?
Pigeon Drop.
Pigeon Drop. I like Pigeon Drop.
I forget what the context was.
This is the World War One, the perk when you upgrade enough.
Pretty good. Corpse Runs is also really good, although it's disgusting.
Yeah.
I like Pigeon Drop.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Okay.